Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. So, I'm going to be doing a series of videos on the DragonSlayer RPG. Now, why am I going to be looking at the DragonSlayer RPG? Because I guess if there was a top three RPGs that I'm looking at today as things that I would have a lot of fun running and or playing, it's Worlds Without Number, and I'm waiting for the CC0 for that to come out. I may play with that, get something myself to uh, hack. Shadow Dark, we've run that a number of times on this very channel as live streams, and Dragon Slayer. And Dragon Slayer by Greg Gillespie is something that if I was going to do a mashup of BX and AD&D and put in uh, a large number of tweaks that some are stuff that I've come close to doing myself or similar to what I've done. Some I wish I'd thought of is handling the fighting classes as they get higher in level for additional attacks is probably the best I've seen in my opinion. Certainly easy to reference, but we're not going to go over that today. This is going to be going over things in the Dragon Slayer FAQ, the facts, and nothing but the facts. Because there's a number of things in the facts that are applicable to any OSR game. This is kind of like Matt Finch's OSR primer or old school primer. This is stuff that should be its own publication, in my opinion, because there's a lot of good advice in here. I'm going to go through it in a bunch of episodes. So, you can thank Mr. Gillespie for some of these insights, but I'm going to elaborate upon them. So, the first one, today's, it's the only one I'm going to cover today. Should I write an in-depth backstory for my character? Really? Right? I mean, when I started gaming back in, I guess my first session I did the math earlier today, was December of 1979, but I didn't get the books until summer of 1980. So, for AD&D, 1E. So, I've been gaming now for, wow, 45 years? 45 freaking years, I guess. Holy crap. Um, and backstory for your character before the game starts is often a little bit pretentious. It's also like, excuse me, uh, planning out your character's advancement through like level 12 and what you do with 5e and Pathfinder to some extent. So, should I write an in depth backstory for my character? Heck no! There isn't much point in writing a paragraph backstory when most first level characters can be killed with the swing of a sword. Well, that's a pretty good point, right? Unless your players can't get killed, die. Oh, I said death saves and all that stuff in 5e. How many times do you have to fail in order to die? No, in OSR gaming, your character, if you get past the first couple of sessions, you level up. All right, now you can start worrying about your character's background, future. But here's the thing: your character in an OSR game, in an old school game, their background, their history is part of the evolution of the gameplay. That's how things get revealed. So instead, write a single sentence. Give your character a key physical characteristic and perhaps a catchphrase. That's more than enough for the maze controller. That's what Greg is referring to as the DM or GM. And the other players to anchor your character in their minds. one little your guy has a nervous tick, you role play or whatever. Why does he have that nervous tick? Well, maybe that gets revealed as the game progresses. Remember, your character's story doesn't precede play. Rather, it emerges through play. What your character did before their adventuring is largely irrelevant, right? This is that's the background. Maybe you were working as I don't know, a caravan guard, or maybe that's the shtick that gets your party together for the first adventures. You were a bunch of caravan guards. What were you doing before that? You were an apprentice. You weren't doing exciting stuff before adventuring. Adventuring is when the excitement starts. Player characters are more than their initial preconceptions and ability scores. Think about it. When you have a character that makes it through to, I don't know, fifth, sixth level, hey, Findalen, my current gnome priest in Joe the Lawyer's game, just hit fourth level. We've been playing since the summer, once a week. Just hit fourth level. And I could not tell you what my character's background was besides that he was a priest and he was involved in the church, yada, yada, yada. But I could tell you about I'm not going to bore you with it, but I could tell you about the adventures that I've experienced through my character and through the rest of the party. And that is where it's supposed to be, not what happened before your PC stepped into the world and the dice created them. It's what happens at the table that's important. And now you may have maybe with your DM, you work it out that, oh, well, maybe you had a long lost sister. And maybe that's going to be an adventure hook. I don't know. Maybe something's going on in your hometown, but you don't need to have all this baggage in the beginning for a character who is almost as likely not to survive that first session as survive. Just isn't needed. I know, for a lot of modern players, that's a really strange concept. I still remember running a game a couple of years ago at a hobby shop out in Long Island. And you had to run an open table. And I was running, so it wasn't much light. And kid, I say kid, he was probably around 20, comes up and he wants, oh, this looks interesting. Can I play? I know D&D. I'm like, all right. Yeah, I figured he had to be a 5e player. Sure enough, 5e player, he wants to bring his winged halfling with some whacked out sword and all. I was like, no, dude, we don't have winged halflings. You don't have a tricked out sword. You're a brand new character. And when I said that, he gave me a prepared history for his brand new character. Apparently, he carried it around. That is not old school gaming. I don't even know if that's new school gaming. That's some bizarre ass shit. So, folks, we're going to be continuing with the DragonSlayer FAQ over the next probably next 2 or 3 episodes. Next live stream is Wednesday. We are working on a guest. We may have one. We may have a guest for the next couple of weeks. Holy crap! Who would have thunk? By the way, folks, there is a link on the bottom of the screen, tenkars-tavern.game/DS. It'll take you to the drive-through RPG site for the DragonSlayer game if you wish to make a purchase. A percentage of your purchase price goes to support the tavern. We don't do advertising, right? I know you get the YouTube advertisements, but we don't do sponsorships. We don't do paid advertising or paid ads. We get supported by affiliate links, and that's how you can support the show. And even if you go there and you don't buy DragonSlayer, you look at something else, you went through this link, it should help the show. All right, folks, as usual, be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, roll them well. I'll be back again tomorrow with some more DragonSlayer. Later, folks.